don't know, Connor, if you were actually in the locker room when Sauce Gardner was talking. They talked about a lot of the penalties. Well, DJ Reed um, stressed his I don't know how do you say it, graciously described how he felt about the officiating. He was not very happy. I'm not going to use those words because it's not appropriate. So, anyways, after blowing a 14-point lead and a 3-9 season, does Reed really have the right to be upset about poor officiating?
Me?
I think
Sorry, Raj,
here's my quick stance on that. DJ Reed is a guy that plays 120% every week. He's somebody that, is out there trying to will this team to wins. And he's had a really, really good year, honestly, in a walk year. And good for DJ Reed because he's going to get paid again after this year, probably by somebody else. And I think it just, when you're playing well and you're losing so many one-score games, and then you look at the sheet at the end and you feel like a call or two really changed the entire course of the game as an athlete, you are probably leaning all of your frustrations into what you can. And in this situations, it is the refs, because Reed's not a guy that's going to call out his coaches after the game. He's not a guy that's going to point the finger at his teammates after the game. And it feels like it kind of bubbled up all that frustration into the officiating, which, the Jets are an undisciplined team, unfortunately. It's the lining up in the neutral zone penalties. There was 2 of them yesterday. It's 12 men on the field. It's the reality of a pass interference when Sauce got hurt and Quantez Stiggers, the rookie corner, had to come in and cover DK Metcalf. That's not an easy assignment. I think tackling in this league is becoming more and more difficult as the years go on with the rules they make. And you look at the horse collar call. By nature, by definition, it was the right call. But as football fans and media viewers and analysts, we don't like it because he doesn't actually reach in and tackle the guy by the horse collar. He grabs the nameplate and loses grip. So I get the view of the player being frustrated, even if that's not the reason they lost, because it wasn't. But trying to kind of take a step in DJ Reed's shoes, if anyone has a right to be frustrated from this defense, it is definitely him.
I don't think there's any reason whatsoever that they should be going at the refs. I mean, I guarantee you, if we go back and we look at the all-22, we can find 5 or 6 missed holds on Leonard Williams. I'm sure that was evident. I'm sure there were tons of times where the flags weren't thrown, where Sauce Gardner was handsy with DK Metcalf or JSN or something like that. I mean, there's penalties on every single play. The maddening aspect of this one for the Jets is the type of penalties that they get. All right, you want to get annoyed at the DPI called, or the OPI, I should say, called on Davante Adams. Okay, fine. The horse collar, fine. Well, what about the play where Xavier Gibson has no idea that the rest of the punt team isn't on the field, where the Jets coaching staff doesn't have the wherewithal to be like, hey, guys, on the other sideline, their punter's hurt. They can't punt the rest of the game. I mean, this is just an undisciplined football team. They have been an undisciplined football team throughout this year, and it didn't get better when they fired Robert Saleh. It got substantially worse. So, yeah, there are some ticky-tack calls. Guess what? There's ticky-tack calls across the NFL every single week. That's not why the Jets lost, and they shouldn't be using it as an excuse.
A lot of players have gone to social media and have either gone after fans, have, put their displeasure in a lot of things. Is this if the players' public social media outbursts, do you think it's just due to the team's lack of leadership, or what do you think it's due to, Connor Rogers?
I think it's...
Or Connor Hughes, you can go.
Go ahead, Connor.
No, I was going to say, I think it's just today's athlete. I mean, it's all of us now. I think about, I remember when Twitter came around when I was in high school. Like, it was my sophomore year, and I remember wait, what the heck is this Twitter thing in my communications class? But these kids now, like the Sauce Gardners, the Garrett Wilsons, the Quincy Williams, all they've ever known is social media. And when they're built up, everyone's your best friend. When they're winning and playing well, everyone's your best friend. Everyone loves you. But when the expectations were so high and the Jets have failed to meet them by such a significant way, the hate is going to be there. And I just don't necessarily know if these guys know how to handle it. And when Robert Saleh was still here, he used to tell me all the time that he would tell the guys, just stay off of it. Just don't look at your mentions. Don't do it. Because he admitted, and he told me, that at times last year and especially earlier this year, the social media influence from people hating on players, it had created a legitimate divide within the locker room where the hate that was being spewed was making guys angry at each other. It was absolutely influencing them on the practice field, and he tried everything he could to get it out of there. But ultimately what he said is that this is just what the players know. This is what they do. Very few are truly able to completely and totally cancel out the noise. And unfortunately in New York, you're not just seeing it on social media. You're seeing it anytime you turn on the radio and listen to WFN or ESPN or watch NFL Network or ESPN or anything else, SNY, all of us. Like, you're going to hear this criticism. You're going to hear this hate. And I just don't think that, I don't know if it's leadership, because the Jets have guys like Solomon Thomas and C.J. Mosley in there and Aaron Rodgers and Allen Lazard and Devontae Adams, guys who have been there, done that. It's just the younger players who have grown up with this level of hate they're really struggling with. And I think, truthfully, it's a case across the league, not just here in New York.
Yeah, but at some point, like, I'll go ask you, Conrad, does the coach need to say, just get off it, guys? Just stay off it. Like,
That's all it did.
I know, but I'm saying now. I'm just saying now.
Yeah, they absolutely do, Janae. The problem is, and I mean this with all respect, because I think
you don't see this in the Kansas City Chiefs locker room. I don't feel
and what's the common denominator is that they win. And the same with the Lions. You don't hear it. You hear Jared Goff and David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, kind of laughing in the locker room and everybody laughing along with them because they're winning. And I think the reality is with this situation, and it's no disrespect to Jeff Ulbrich, who's in an impossible spot. Mm-hmm. He's in a can't-win spot, literally. Is that the players aren't going to listen to everybody because this isn't a unified team right now. Everybody's just kind of on an island here trying to figure it out. And when things go wrong, it makes you feel like you're on even more of an island. And I feel like that's why some of them have turned to social media, because they feel, when the boat starts taking on water, everybody is really looking for a life raft. And that's what the Jets feel like right now, as we've seen, unfortunately, Sauce point at people on the field during the year. We saw, DJ Reed yesterday tweet about the refs. Aaron Rodgers quote yesterday about there's 11 guys on the field. It's been trickling out for a while because they are losing, and nobody wants to be viewed as a loser. But right now, and some of them, plenty of them, won't be here next year, and they want a better opportunity somewhere else and don't want to be viewed as part of the problem with this team. So it's a massive issue. It's a massive issue even on a larger scale when teams are losing. And the Jets have been losing a lot, and that's why it feels magnified this year. And it goes back to the point of not only do they need an absolute leader at head coach that they need to hire, but that leader needs to bring a staff where these guys are going to spend more time with their position coaches that, have a tight relationship with them. And here's a perfect quick example. Look at the Lions on Thanksgiving. Jameson Williams makes a really, really dumb penalty, and his position coach is in his ear on the sideline. And apparently Jameson Williams apologized to the team after the game. That, to me, Dan Campbell didn't have to go over to him and talk to him. The position coach did. And that's because Dan Campbell's built a hell of a staff. And Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson are going to be head coaches. His coordinators are going to be head coaches next year. So the Jets don't have a staff like that. They barely have enough bodies in terms of NFL actual staff sizes. So it's another issue with the Jets.